We live? Just waiting.
We are live.
We are live. Welcome to the 3 p.m. Facebook Live at the Gamel Facebook group. My name is Jacob. I am the Gamel UK dealer for UK and Europe. Today we're going to be showing you how to make it a lot more easier to show off your quilting patterns and to help your customers choose. So we have
wait for a few more people to come on.
So we're just going to wait a little bit. You probably can hear Dad in the background give me a little bit of suggestions. This is my first Facebook Live, so I'm a little bit nervous, but it's all fun.
It's 9 o'clock at night.
So at the moment, it's 3 p.m. Central Time in West Plains, or Central Time. It is 9 p.m. at night over here, and it is just about 6,500 miles away from West Plains HQ. So Dad was trying to say, oh, we're the first one outside of US, but you got the Canadians as well. So we're not quite yet, but we are over the pond though, which is quite fun. So just wait a few more minutes to get everybody in here. Do a little jig. Just waiting to see everybody come on. I can't actually see the chat, so it's my co-stars behind the cameras that will be telling me if people are in here. So we got about 4 or 5 people. We're just slowly tuning in Oh no, Naomi's told a lie. Naughty Naomi. We actually have 31 people in here at the moment, so woo! Welcome. So yeah, what we're going to be showing is helping the customers choose their patterns. I have a few selections of patterns. I have a pattern sample, as you can see here, the little dance. I have one which we'll talk about in a minute, where I have one unbound, and my mother is probably watching at the moment. It would be nice if you could bind these, Mother, but we'll get into that later. We also have one which has binding clips on it, and then we have one that has no binding clips and actually binding on there. Reason why is because we're also a patchwork shop, and we like to show people how to kind of go through the process of binding as well. So we have the first step of, this is what your quilt looks like after trimming, this is what your quilt looks like with binding clips, and this is what your quilt looks like with a finished project. We also have another neat idea. I'm starting to sound American with neat. A measure. And you may be thinking, what is it? It's to show customers what a pattern would look like on an 18 all the way down to a 10-inch square. So for quite a few times, there we go. So for quite a little while, I would say to my customers, how would you like your pattern sized? And they would look at me with a bit of a blank stare and think, well, whatever your choice. And I thought, that's absolutely fine. The machine is quite good that it does calculate it for you, but you can go bigger and smaller. But then I thought, a customer actually came into me and said, I want a pattern quite big on a quilt. It was going to the National Quilt Show. And I thought, well, I will make up a measure. So I got this, made it up. It takes about, the quilting time is probably about 10-15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes if you turn on your stitch points, because it gives you a quite nice in-depth stitch. And that's all it is. And then it just needs binding. And again, we're showing off that this is what your quilt looks like when not bound. So yeah, and the customer, surprisingly, actually chose that one, the biggest one, because of she knew and saw how big the pattern was, and then she said, well, I like that one, and it will go perfect with the quilt. And the quilt blocks were quite big. So you may be wondering, well, how do you make these? And actually, I forgot one thing. Bear with me.
Once he disappears. He'll be right back, I promise everyone.
The other thing I make, which is a bit mucky, I apologise, is also a pattern quilt. As you can see, we're quite patriotic as a family as well. We have the I Love London pattern here as well. I believe I got that from Kim Diamond. Lovely pattern, and we use it quite a lot because we are quite a patriotic country. And there's the ones on the bottom here as well. As you can see, we have skateboards, we have chefs, whisks, wedding bells, you name it, we have it. And the reason why I did this as well is because I'm showing off a lot of my patterns as well, because of, as you guys know, when you get your machine, you start with 12,500 patterns thereabouts, and you try showing them off to customers, it's a bit difficult. So, without further ado, let's show you how you make them. So, my cameraman, which is behind, which is also my father, David, he's going to come around and we're going to show off how to make these on the machine. There we go. So, as you can see, come on in. We want the customers, we want the Facebook group to see what we're doing. So we're going to start off with that simple block pattern. How I do this is, what I mostly do with my blocks is I do 12-inch blocks. So I could, if I wanted to, change my grid size, which I'm going to, all up to 5 inches, and you may be thinking 5 inches, but you're going to do a 12-inch pattern. You will see. I'm just going to snap these on because I got my snaps on. Gives a nice block. Now I'm going to change this to a nice 12-inch square. I'm going to turn on my lock. Although it hasn't done it, I should have done that beforehand. And there we go. I'm now going to change this to a, bear with me, convert, there we go, I was looking right at it. Convert pattern to boundary, and then I'm just going to simply pattern to boundary. And there we go. And that's how I quilt my sample blocks. Now, that's doing one, and you may be thinking, that's quite nice, but what happens if I want to do multiple? Well, let's get funky with the software, shall we? We're going to go along and hit in Shift, no, Control, excuse me. I'm going to select multiple patterns. There we go. I'm just going to scroll down. So we've got 12 so far. And now we've got 16. And we, as you can see, we have multiple starting endpoints. We've got some in the middle, some at the top, and some at the bottom. We're going to select repeat patterns. Just select any point, and we got one. And you may be thinking, wait, hang on a minute, where are they? Well, I'm going to select this lock here, as you can see. Excuse the screen, it's quite a small screen. I'm going to select 4 repeats and 4 rows. And you may be thinking, whoa, what's happened? Well, as you can see, the start and the end points are all over the place. We've got some patterns merging all over the place. So how do we fix that? Well, see the set spacing down here? I'm going to have a nice 1-inch gap between them. So I'll select 1 inch there and 1 inch there. And there we go.
Just go back through that again. That's brilliant.
So, as you can see, we have our 16 patterns of all different patterns from all different designers, and this is how I make my quilt groups. Well, quilts, pattern quilts. There we go. So again, my cameraman said, well, let's do that again. So I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to go all the way back up to the top again. And as you can see, you may recognize this from a minute ago. This is what we use for the pattern measure wall hanging. And again, all we're doing is hitting Control and just selecting these patterns. And I'm counting in my head. I've got 8 so far. That's 12. That is 16. And that is, ooh, I said 16. I'm already at my limit. Or am I? What happens if I decide to go to 25. A little 5 by 5. Well, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have I done 26? I have done 26. I'm just testing you, and I'm testing my co-cameraman. So again, repeat patterns. Select anywhere on the catch screen. I have my snap on. And again, we just have that one. Select that lock. There we go. Now, how many do we have? 25. So a 4x4 is not going to work, but a 5x5 will. So a 5 repeats and 5 rows. And again, we've gone super funky. And again, how do we fix that? By simply putting 1 inch in the spacing, or actually, just as simple, we can go 0.1, hit enter, and that fixes it. So I'm just going to put 1 inch spacing all the way around this. And there we go. And that's 25 different patterns that you can show off to your customers. Now, you have 2 choices here. You can either simply bind the quilt, or you can then go along and cut down these lines, and then that then gives you all those sample squares that I have. That's what I did originally. Then I made a quilt, and then I slightly twisted it a bit more, because on the quilt these are all joined, and I was playing around earlier on and I thought, hey, let's just have a quick play with the software as well, double check that I'm making sure that I've got everything in my head right, and then I did this. So it does not matter where your start end point is, as long as you select that pattern and select that spacing, you'll be absolutely fine. And as you can see, this is a 64 by 64 inch quilt, because it's selecting the height and width of that first pattern you selected. It sets it in there, and then that's how you get all the heights and widths the same. Sometimes it might be slightly different, but most of the time so far it has not let me go wrong. What do I do from now? Simply hit OK. Now, as you saw, that is a 64 by 64 inch. And then what I simply do is toggle this as sewn, sew out your first row, move the patterns up on the screen, and then go from there. And it is that simple. So that is our pattern squares all sorted. I will say that if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I will try and reply to them as soon as possible to you. So, what was the other thing we were looking at? Yeah, pattern type measurement chart, or walking. Depends what you call it. It can be a bit of a tongue twister. But yeah, let's go for the next one. See all of these selected and highlighted. Just select one and it gives you all you. Now, I was showing you, I got rid of it. I was showing you how I just did my simple block. Keeps it the same size.
Fade that, speak up a bit louder.
Oh, sound faded. Really sorry.
Also, I think you're covering the bottom band.
The reason why, bear with us, hold the phone just there. Sorry about that.
Parents, eh? Who'd have them?
Yep. So my wonderful father, the reason why the sound faded is because he accidentally put his hand over the microphone. Really sorry about that. If you didn't quite catch any of that, then please don't hesitate to comment and we will try and...
Oh, you're back.
And we are back.
Sorry, folks, my fault.
That is my wonderful father again. So, whereabouts did we get to? And where did the volume fade, Naomi?
In the height chart.
Be about the height chart side of things. It was just after Wendy commented, so we had lots of we're losing voice. So yes, it will be after the height chart. So if you go back.
Which height chart?
The one you're doing here.
Oh, so we're just getting onto the height chart. Yep, there we go. Sorry about that. first Facebook Live, you know what it's like. Bit of nerves, and oh, that's one I did earlier. You okay now?
Sound completely gone. Oh no. What's going on there then?
Bear with us.
Mary says to shout a bit louder.
If anybody's got sound, please say, because we can't hear this.
Turn it up, Nemi.
Sorry about this, folks.
Hello? Yeah. Yep, no, we're fine. Sorry about that, a bit of sound difficulty, but hey, that's what happens when you're 6,500 miles away from Gamel HQ. It can be a bit difficult sometimes. So, where were we? The height chart. Hopefully you all caught up with how I did my quilt designs or design quilts. So, my height chart. As you saw, well, I say mine. It's not mine. Other people have done it before me. So, I can't exactly remember where I first saw it, but when I saw it, I was like, hey, that's a really good idea. So, we're going to go draw line, just snap onto these, as you can see. It's a nice 5-inch block. I'm going to do lock again, a toggles aspect lock on, and then I'm going to go to 18. The reason why we're going to 18 is because that is the biggest one we're doing. I'm going to toggle this to boundary, click on that boundary and select pattern to boundary, and there we go. Now I could, if I wanted to, go along and do that every single time, so do 5 boundaries and sort it out like that. Or again, let's get wizzy with this software, because this software is amazing. Let's change this back to a boundary. Ooh, now I chose the wrong one. Now what do we do? Now I'm going to say this the English way, Control Z or Z, and we get that back. Now, again, this might go a bit funky. This was doing it absolutely fine earlier. No! You know what? This was absolutely... Aha! There we go. Sorry, I just had to zoom in a little bit. Because what I was doing was I was selecting my pattern instead of the boundary. I'm going to go to boundary to pattern. And there we go. Now, what am I going to do with this? Well, simple right click. And again, we're using these wonderful tools that is on this software. We're going to use rubber stamp. Now, I have 5. So I'm going to count, that's an 18 square, a 16, a 14, a 12, and a 10. Now you may be thinking, wait, hang on a minute, they're all the same. Well, again, that lock is on. I'm going to choose 16, hit enter, and as you can see, it's gone smaller. Hit 14, enter, and again, it's gone smaller. 12, enter, and it's gone smaller. And oh, there we go. And 10, and hit enter. Now that spacing is all over the place and it does not look pretty at all. Well, I'm going to go to a 1-inch grid, select my original pattern, and zoom on in with using my arrow keys. I'm just going to nudge this over to where it lines up with the grid. Again, select the 16-inch square, move it on up. Now I'm not breaking into song now.
Why not?
Well,
go on, sing. Jacob,
no,
sing.
I'm not singing.
Oh, it'd be good.
And then I was doing that really a painstaking way. Move on up. Again, I'm not breaking into song. Naomi's calling me boring over there.
Holly will join in and sing with you, no doubt. I know she will.
And then the last one, move this over. A little nudge there, and there we go. That is all lined up. And let's do a test. Select a stitch on your up here, virtual stitch out, wait for it to load, do a little zoom. Hey, that's going really slow. Hit that plus key. And there we go. This is just to make sure that it's all stitching. It's going to do the pattern, then that box, and as you can hear that it's that tick or that ding. Let this zoom around. Speed it up a little bit more. There we go. There we go. And this is just making sure that this is all sewing from left to right. Last thing I want to do is do each pattern and then each square outline, because then I don't know how many of you caught on last night about Andrew Weaver's fabric shrinkage. Wonderful video. I definitely highly recommend checking that one out. Because of that, it would shift a little bit if I then went back and just sewn that out. So there we go. That is the measure or the wall chart, and that works out at 74 inches width and 18 wide. Normally I'd give a bit of a space either side when trimming, because then it gets a nice little border, and then all you need to do is do some binding, or again have it unbound and show the customers what a finished quilt would look like. Well, that is all from us today, and I'm sure our wonderful father has a few little words, because he has been very quiet today, hasn't he? He is my person that comes along the road with me, does a few little jobs here and there, and does all the maintenance, which I hear next week the same time he's doing the maintenance video. So check in onto the quilt and you can just have a look.
Do you know what that's called? I believe Kathy was asking.
Somebody's just asking a question here, folks.
If you knew what this pattern was.
Nice to see all the people on here. Hi Jane, hi Kathy, hi Patricia, hi Mary Burns from Scotland. Hope the weather's good up in Scotland. We actually saw the sun here for a bit today.
Wendy May Wakefield, it's her first live stream.
Oh, hi Wendy.
Welcome
Welcome to the first live feed from Tennessee, a part of America that we sadly haven't been to, but one day we hope we'll get there, because we do love going over to America. At the moment in the UK, we're all locked down. We've actually used our exercise this evening to walk into the shop. We're in the basement of the shop. That's where Jacob lives and does all his quilting. Upstairs is the shop that Naomi runs, and they work really well together, these two. They have great ideas of how they should run their businesses together and side by side, and there's no sibling rivalry, and as a parent that is always a wonderful thing to say. But there's just that one thing they can never agree on. And Jen Smith, you can help me with this one. How do you work that out between those two?
Jennifer, what have you done? You turned my sister into a Cowboys fan.
You
now,
know,
I'm sure the Facebook comments are going crazy because I know I'm a Pats fan, and Pats, well, nobody likes really, but, well, yeah, and Brady's gone, so it's been a rough time. Please, it's been a rough time. But yeah, thank you ever so much for tuning in. As you can see, I love America to bits with a wonderful football team that I support. Naomi, well, there's always a beginner team.
Well, hi Monique, how are you? Lovely to see you.
No, I'm joking, Jennifer. I love you. Sometimes I like it. But yeah, thank you ever so much for tuning in to Facebook Live. We hope that the scenario over here and over there it's kind of, there's different stuff happening at the moment. We've been on lockdown for I think 4 to 5 weeks now. I haven't actually used my machine, so it's a little bit of a worrying time because, hey, I want to be quilting. And I know over in America you have state laws, which is always different. But one thing that we would always say to everybody out there, please stay safe, stay home, and look after everybody. And we are one big Gamble family. So good night, and we'll see you again very soon.
Hello, Bruce from Australia. Glad you could join us. That's silly over there, I know for sure. Take care, folks. We'll catch up again sometime. Bye.
Bye.